We love hip hop.
I wanted to react to a Trap Lord Ross video about Ryan Wedding. All right. Ryan Wedding, for the people who don't know, I think I don't need to explain who he is, right? Former Olympian, gold medal, snowboarder, skier, and he was known as the Pablo Escobar of Canada. All right. They've arrested him a few weeks ago. There's been mixed reports. Some people saying that he turned himself in. Some people say the FBI, Cash Patel and those guys said, yo, we got him. They had a whole press conference saying that they apprehended him. Who knows? But Trap Lord Ross, I think, did a pretty good piece on it. I watched half of it, and then I said to myself, you know what? Let me save this for the live stream, because I want to be able to get some of the reactions or some of my feelings about this in real time rather than a reenactment. So let's pull this up here. Ryan Wedding. Trap Lord Ross. And big salute to Trap Lord Ross. That's my brother right there. All right. He dropped it just yesterday. The Many Murders of Ryan Wedding. It's already got 87,000 views. And this is on his
months and 86 pounds of drugs.
This is exactly where I stopped the video, 16 minutes in. And I said to myself, no. I'm going to save this for the chat. All right. So let's start it from the beginning.
Today, he's facing charges of murder, attempted murder, and distribution of hundreds of kilos of cocaine. But around 25 years ago, he was a world champion skier and snowboarder, winning medals and representing Canada at the Winter Olympics. Ryan Wedding's life is one of the most insane crime stories ever lived. And after his sports career didn't make him the millions that he'd hoped for, Ryan would spend the next few decades living life like the real-life Walter White, starting from humble beginnings as a marijuana grower, building his business from nothing to a farm growing $10 million worth of product, and eventually graduating to the cocaine business, connecting with plugs from Russia, Iran, and eventually Mexico's Sinaloa cartel, where he would become such a high-ranking narco trafficker, he would wind up being compared to El Chapo and Pablo Escobar, and winding up on the list of the FBI's top 10 most wanted men. Ryan was a ruthless narco, allegedly ordering numerous murders, including one of a federal witness in Colombia, and in the process earning himself the menacing nicknames El Jefe, Giant, or Public Enemy. With a $15 million bounty on his head, by 2026, the FBI would make a shock announcement that Ryan Wedding had finally been brought into custody and was being flown to America to face justice. But bizarrely around this time, a suspicious social media account would emerge, proclaiming his innocence and suggesting that Ryan had never really been captured. In fact, it would claim that he had walked into the American embassy all by himself and surrendered willingly. This is the shocking true story of how Ryan Wedding went from mountains of snow to mountains of blow, having
mountains of snow to mountains of blow bars. See, this is what I needed from the news. The news was coming with some lame ones. Mountains of snow to mountains of blow bars. Salute to Trap Lord Ross. Carol wants to know how long before we get a movie or a TV show about Wedding. They're probably 3/4 of the way completed it. Maybe not on Netflix, maybe Netflix. They're probably in a race right now. Who can finish the shit first so we can release it? Because these YouTubers are kicking our back in right now.
Numerous people killed to protect his empire, and how he just might get away with it all.
Let's go, Ross.
The city of Vancouver has been consistently ranked as one of the 3 most livable cities in the world. This port city also has the reputation for being a mecca for cheap illicit drugs.
Ryan Wedding.
At 6'3" and with grandparents who owned a ski hill in Thunder Bay, Ontario, Wedding proved a natural.
A gunman apparently walked in and shot him 5 times in the head. U.S. authorities say it was Ryan Wedding who ordered that hit, placing a $5 million bounty on the witness's head.
It was complete silence. Only the noises of gunshots were there.
His lawyer advised them to kill this witness. By 2015, Wedding disappeared as the...
This is just the intro right now. The interview that they're going to have with that Indian girl a little bit later on, probably by the 10-minute mark. Insane. That's one of the ones where the Deepak lawyer or whatever, freaking emergency Deepak, that's one of the people that they said, yo, go murk them. But we'll get to it.
To the efforts of the United States government that the State Department
has put up a $15 million reward for his capture.
This is better than Netflix. This is just an ad right here. We're going to fast forward this ad.
/TrapLawRoss. Link in description, or you can scan the QR code on the screen now using your phone's camera. Thank you, Morgan & Morgan, and let's get back to the video.
If you want to watch my videos uncut and extended, go to patreon.com/TrapLawRoss, where you can get those for just $2. Also, you can leaves of a stolen drug shipment, logistical error, the center of Toronto. Inside the residence, the atmosphere was warm and still as the
My bad, guy.
If you want to watch my videos uncut and extended, go to patreon.com/TrapLawRoss, where you can get those for just $2. Also, you can now watch my new drops on Spotify, so go search me there. Here's the video. On the night of November the 20th, 2023, a deceptive calm settled over the rental home on Mayfield Road in Caledon, Ontario, a rural town in Canada less than an hour away from the center of Toronto. Inside the residence, the atmosphere was warm and still as the Sidhu family would wind down for the evening. But unbeknownst to them, a logistical error made in a cartel war room thousands of miles away had just signed their death warrants. Suddenly, the silence of their tranquil home was shattered by the violent crash of the front door being kicked off its hinges and their sanctuary.
Quick fast, as far as what he means by logistical error, because I don't think he explains it later on. This is the wrong family. They went and murked everybody in this house, and it's the wrong family.
Was breached by armed gunmen who moved in with the cold efficiency of a hit squad. These hitters, wrongly believing that they had found the thieves of a stolen drug shipment, and once they were inside, they didn't ask a single question. They just began executing this innocent family.
Jesus
My father
Christ.
was shot in front of me. I heard my mother's last screams. And after that, it was complete silence. Only the noises of gunshots were there. That's it. I didn't even get to meet them for the last time. My mom was in another room. My father was in front of me. He died. I wasn't able to do anything.
Jagtar Sidhu was executed first, and only seconds later, his wife Harbajan's terrified screams would echo through the hallway before she too was silenced by gunfire. Meanwhile, in her bedroom on the first floor, their 28-year-old daughter would hear the chaos erupt. But before she can even react, the shadow of a gunman was towering over her. Mercilessly, he would raise his weapon and fire 13 times at the innocent girl.
Myself, I called 911 as soon as I got my consciousness back. Whole family shot. This is what I was saying repeatedly.
Miraculously, she would
50 Cent could never
survive by playing dead, while the men who destroyed her family walked out into the cold, dead night.
It's truly incredible that you're even able to speak with us today. You were shot 13 times. What have doctors told you about what your recovery is going to look like?
It's still gonna take a long time. I still have to learn sitting, standing, walking. It's been very hard. And some days are okay, not too bad. Some days are filled with pain, lots of pain and medications every time.
This cold-blooded hit was apparently sent as a message.
She's a soldier.
In response to a stolen drug shipment that had passed through Southern California, and the people accused of sending it were Ryan Wedding and his right-hand man, an enforcer who went by the name of Andrew Clark. Ryan James Wedding's story begins in the biting cold of the Canadian North. Born on September the 14th, 1981 in Thunder Bay, Ontario, he was born into a world defined by its rugged landscapes and punishing winters. From the very beginning, his path was carved by a family dynasty deeply embedded in the culture of winter sports. Specifically, his maternal grandparents, Lauren and Marilyn Speece, were local legends who had owned and operated the Mount Baldy Ski Club since the 1960s. Moreover, his father was a trained engineer and former competitive skier, and his uncle Craig, a Northwestern Ontario Sports Hall of Fame inductee. Accordingly, the trajectory towards elite competition seemed set almost from birth, and in 1993, a pivotal shift would occur when the Wedding family moved west to Coquitlam, British Columbia, when Ryan was just 12 years old. This
guy just has bare privilege growing up, yo. This guy's freaking parents had bread, and he won the genetic lottery too, bro. Like 6 foot and change. Yeesh.
Location was life-changing as it placed the young athlete directly in the heart of Canada's exploding snowboarding revolution.
This is what all the fuss is about. It's like snow surfing, an idea that originated in, where else? California. It's been around for almost a decade in the United States, and now it's becoming the trendy thing to do on our local ski slopes.
Almost immediately, young Ryan would adapt to the new discipline, and by the age of just 15, he had already secured a coveted spot on the Canadian national ski team. Throughout his rapid ascent, he was supported by his family every step of the way.
From what I read,
how the hell this guy get onto the ski team so quickly? You know, that was somebody put some bread down. Somebody paid for something, moved a few things around. Yeah, let me get my kid on the ski team.
Remember, he had good family support, and his mom and dad were at all the races, and
in a short period of time, he proved his natural talent wasn't just a fluke, eventually capturing the bronze medal at the Junior World Championships in 1999. Consistently climbing the ranks, he followed this up, winning a silver medal at the 2001 Junior Olympics. However, as the millennium turned, Ryan's sights were firmly set on the 2002 Winter Olympics. The 6'3" aspiring gold medalist.
This guy's running, trying to get into the Olympics. Crazy, bro. The Event Podcast salute, because money talks for real. And this kind of spins back to the little OT story. People talk about, oh, the man was a good youth. How could he get into the streets? He didn't need to be in the streets. Ryan Wedding wasn't a good youth. Let me hear you tell me that Ryan Wedding was a bad man when he was a kid. Okay, growing up in the streets of Thunder Bay and then moving to Coquitlam, not Vancouver, Coquitlam, a friggin' a ski resort town. Bodman, all Bodman have to come from the hood, right? This guy the FBI called him the new Pablo Escobar. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're giving him big accolades as far as being a drug dealer. Man didn't come from Jane and Finch or Regent or, you know what I'm saying? The guy, he grew up with really rich parents, fam. His dad owned a ski resort.
Was an imposing figure, and to many, he represented the hope of the nation.
Yeah, well, when I met Ryan, you're right. I'm about 10 years older than him, and at the end of my career, and Ryan was just 18 or 19, and he was like 6'3". He looked like Superman. He was going to be the next, and pretty much was the next best guy on tour that we had seen. And so,
poised for glory, he arrived in Salt Lake City, ready to represent his country on the world stage in the parallel giant slalom. But the Olympic Games for Ryan Wedding was unfortunately a heartbreaking disappointment, and the pressure proved far too much for the young athlete to handle. On February the 14th, 2002, instead of standing on the podium, he finished a disappointing 24th place in the men's parallel giant slalom, failing to even qualify for the medal rounds. This disappointing result would play at least a small part in shaping Ryan Wedding's dark.
Hold on. Let me stop this for a second. What do you mean, Brian Russell? Friday is very ignorant. I speak from the YN perspective. Did you just not hear what I just said? You know what? I'm not even going to address it. You're trolling me.
Future.
For him, his future was probably top of mind, and when he didn't perform, at the top of his game in Salt Lake City, then he probably was thinking, like, what's the next thing that he can do, in his life to earn an income.
This massive failure was clearly a crushing blow for Ryan. Perhaps he'd imagined glory as a snowboarder and the fame and riches that would come with becoming a top athlete. But his huge successes in the Junior Olympics simply didn't translate into success in the big boy adult Olympics. Consequently, the risk-taking and competitive instincts that drove him down that mountain simply changed lanes, directing him to a much darker and more dangerous enterprise. And in the absence of the fame and fortune that he thought snowboarding would bring him, he decided to apply himself to another white powdery vocation, deciding instead to go from Shaun White to Walter White and get all the toys he wanted in life from the murky world of dealing drugs.
Bars. Yeah, okay, let me continue. Because I feel like I'm thinking, don't tell me you were sad from not winning those medals or ranking really badly in the Olympics and you're like, fuck it, I'm gonna be a drug dealer. Nah. It had to be more than that. There's got to be more to the story than that.
Following the crushing Olympic disappointment in Salt Lake City, Wedding retreated to Vancouver instead of returning to the World Cup circuit to fight for redemption. At the time, he told his father he was interested in becoming a stockbroker or joining his dad's engineering firm with a goal of settling down in the suburbs with a wife and kids. Clearly, he wanted a career that would earn him the big bucks and the shiny toys, but it also appeared he was in a rush for glory. To earn extra money immediately, he would begin working as a bouncer, a job that placed him directly at the velvet-roped intersection of Vancouver's high society and its gritty criminal underworld. In the mid-2000s, Vancouver's nightlife was the playground for a new breed of gangster, with biker gangs like the Hells Angels having an iron grip on lucrative parts of Vancouver's drug markets during this time.
The city of Vancouver has been consistently ranked as one of the 3 most livable cities in the world. This port city also has the reputation for being a mecca for cheap illicit drugs. And with a boom in sales, there's been a major change in who controls the multi-billion-dollar business. But that changing of the guard has triggered a torrent of violence. Across Canada, the once dominant mafia has been pushed aside. The rough, homegrown gang has taken over.
Listen, for the people who haven't seen this, and salute to Jason Bassett, he said, yes, good youths can be criminal. You don't even know how much they can be, bro. When you see the switch over from, and I don't even feel like he was a good youth as far as his upbringing, but the things that he was drawn to is not good youth behavior. Okay? It doesn't dictate, it doesn't come off like the behavior of somebody whose parents gave them everything. It's just like, and listen, I'm speaking from experience. It's just like, really, what's over there though? Oh yeah, that's how y'all getting money over there? Yo, let me try that. How could I be down? Oh, y'all getting a lot of money over there. It's one of those ones. And trust me, I'm not even speaking from, I don't know what the hell I'm talking about from my own experience. This is how it switched for this guy. Watch, it's coming up.
The Hells Angels. Leaders in an enterprise that feeds on the misery and shattered lives of its victims.
This was also the era of the notorious United Nations, or UN gang, led by the charismatic and ruthless Clay Rouge.
But then there is another side, a hidden side caught by police cameras and microphones. Cross-border drug drops, photos of evidence, bullets, bling, and boomboxes in armored SUVs. Canadian authorities provided plenty of evidence to their American counterparts that led to Clay Rouge's guilty plea. And now that evidence has been made public. It shows the former kid from Chilliwack turned gangster talking with other gangsters about drug deals.
They would also be at war with their violent rivals, the Red Scorpions.
The former kid from Chilliwack. The guy has a graduation photo, this other guy over here. Like, holy, just a bunch of good youths out here just murking shit.
The city's new white team pulled off the raid Friday night. The squad was formed to tackle drug crime in the city, and its first big operation is being hailed a huge success. 2 men are in custody awaiting formal charges. One of them is directly linked to a notorious Lower Mainland gang.
At least one is known to our investigators as Red Scorpion.
The Red Scorpions are well known in BC for all the wrong reasons. The gang has been involved in violent turf wars linked to the drug trade, including the Surrey 6 killings back in 2007. Now that war could be coming to Nanaimo.
Unknown to the police, the city was on the brink of a gang war over its lucrative weed markets. These new gangs would leave bodies in empty cars along the waterfront, but their favorite hunting grounds were the very same nightclubs where Ryan Wedding was working. While the danger would leave other bouncers to start wearing bulletproof vests, the fearless and thrill-seeking Ryan Wedding refused to do the same, as he was apparently intrigued and excited by the violence of the drug wars. As a bouncer, he would watch as gang members flaunted cash earned from cross-border marijuana smuggling, as the dope dealers from various gangs would splash out on bottle service, exotic supercars, and penthouse suites. Intoxicated by this lifestyle, Ryan would physically transform himself to fit the part, dressing like the dealers that he looked up to, rocking Breitling watches and iced-out Ed Hardy shirts. Now,
this Ryan right there, when he's seeing all those guys in the bar, y'all got a lot of money over there. How could I get some money like that? I could ask my dad, or I can go outside and even make triple the money my dad makes. I seen Carol said something about the devil when the devil calls. That's literally the devil on his shoulder. Like, ask my dad to go and work for his engineering company and, you know, just live a life of non-crime, maybe making like $250,000 a year, or see what these guys with the bikes are doing over there and see if I can become a billionaire.
I remember this era, and I was rocking out as a teenager in a fake Breitling and Ed Hardy shirt myself, but fortunately I didn't fall into the dope game like Ryan Wedding. But for Ryan Wedding, he'd undergone a complete transformation mentally and physically. Gone was the lean agility of a slalom race, as he would aggressively bulk up his physique through bodybuilding. With his newly acquired drug dealer starter pack, he apparently got obsessed with the gym, and he said that he hated if he worked out around anyone bigger than him. And beyond the gym, he was also becoming a monster in the streets. At a certain point, he began running weed grow operations too and making money in the streets, and that money would come thick and fast. By 2006, the former Olympian had dropped out of college and was living in a condo with 30-foot ceilings in a ritzy neighborhood, driving expensive vehicles and outfitting his home with arcade games. This
guy has RW in his crib, like engraved in the freaking marble probably over here. Like, this guy was full of himself too, bro. And he went to college.
Quickly gotten rich.
Good youth.
Rich off weed growing, splashing out on everything a first-time drug dealer would want. He had his initials carved in the entranceway of his condo, a garage kitted out with a Hummer, a BMW M5, and a Ducati Superbike. But the glaring disconnect between a bouncer's income and this lavish lifestyle and spending was the first red flag to those around him that Wedding had found a new illicit revenue stream. Under the guise of legitimate business, Ryan Wedding had been running an enterprise in the streets since 2004, headquartered on a rural property in Maple Ridge, British Columbia, named the 18 Carat Farm. But apparently he wasn't growing carrots unless you count the A.W.O.L kind. According to reports, Wedding and a partner were cultivating 8,000 marijuana plants in a warehouse, harvesting every 2 weeks and selling them to a broker that pulled them in hundreds of thousands of dollars every year.
8,000 plants every 2 weeks is crazy. Just from the start. This is 2004. This is the early shit. I ain't gonna lie for the... And I'm not trying to encourage any drug dealing or anything out there, but this nigga was a goat. I'm saying.
But eventually, the authorities were tipped off when records revealed the simple warehouse was consuming enough electricity to power a medium-sized farm consistent with electrical use needed for high-intensity discharge lamps used in industrial-scale cannabis cultivation. Essentially, Ryan's operation was gobbling up way more power than it needed, and that gave the game away. On September the 22nd, 2006, the Royal Canadian Mounted Police would take action, breaching the warehouse with tactical units and seizing a whopping $10 million worth of marijuana. This came in the form of 6,800 plants and 86 pounds of dried flower, alongside a safe that was apparently stuffed with loaded guns. This grow was described as the largest marijuana bust in the history of Maple Ridge. But incredibly, with nothing but a confidential informant linking Wedding to the property, the police never actually pressed charges against him. And ironically, after
that also, right there, perfect freeze frame, that also is that white privilege talking right there, bro, and that money. But it's not the street money. It's that whatever money, like his dad, and it's not even the money, the power. Let me rephrase that. The power. You got caught with all that shit on your quote unquote carrot farm, and they didn't freaking give you no time, bro. Wow.
Essentially running it up millions of dollars off the drug game, getting caught, and facing no real consequences other than a financial loss, Ryan Wedding was unperturbed, and he vowed to build back better, and soon he decided to graduate to dealing harder drugs.
Well, shit, wouldn't you? Wouldn't you switch after these guys hit you with so much shit, like weed-wise, and then they let you walk? Yeah, bro, let's see what else we can do. Roll the dice again. Let's see if we can go higher. Let's see if we can get into some coke. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, B. This is also an indictment on the justice system, bro. All right? Like, they had him back then. They let him go, and that shit put a battery in his back, B.
By 2007, the Olympian's invincible aura had faded, having lost nearly $800,000 in failed real estate and drug deals, Ryan Wedding was effectively flat broke. Desperate for a Hail Mary, he would gather $340,000 flying to Los Angeles with a plan to buy 24 kilos of cocaine from the Russian mob. The meetup took place near LAX airport with a man named Yuri, who was apparently an ex-KGB agent, which is basically Russia's equivalent of the CIA, but this buy was a setup. Yuri was a confidential informant wearing a wire, and the bricks of coke had been provided to him directly by the feds. Within hours of the arrest and the playback of taped conversations, his co-defendants quickly folded and cut deals for lighter sentences. However, Ryan Wedding himself stayed solid and refused to cooperate. This landed him in the Metropolitan Correctional Center in San Diego for 2 years awaiting trial. But from his cell, he would continue to manage his chaotic personal life, apparently juggling 5 unsuspecting girlfriends back in British Columbia who were washing his cars, cleaning his condo, and collecting his debts to pay off money that he owed. But even more dangerously, he used this time behind the wall to network in the criminal underworld. Jailhouse transcripts would catch him bragging about making good connections that would later transform him from a failed plug into a full-blown cartel kingpin. On November the 30th, 2009, a jury...
I feel like this is such a typical story. It's a great story, but like I feel like it's almost like this guy read the script of the last kingpin, right? And the authorities, everybody all helped too. They're like, all right, so since you were locked up for the last 2 years, now you get to meet a few new plugs. They already seen that you were locked up for. You were heavy. You were trying to get heavy in the game. They're like, you got potential. You meet some new people. What do they call it? Like the jail is like college or like criminal college. This nigga was graduating while he was inside. Like, okay, let me get into some bigger shit. All right, let me start fucking with these Mexicans.
Would find Ryan Wedding guilty of conspiracy to distribute cocaine. At his sentencing, Wedding played the fallen hero to perfection, pleading that it was a personal mission of his to rebuild his reputation. And apparently believing his remorse and that he was just a failed drug amateur, the judge would take pity and sentence Wedding to a remarkably light 4 years in prison, just half of what was standard for similar crimes. When he was deported back to Canada on December the 7th, 2011, he would return with serious connections and a contact list that would eventually allow him to bypass local suppliers and deal directly with the cartels. Upon his return to Canada in 2011, Ryan Wedding would leverage his American prison contacts to burrow deeper into the criminal underworld. Very little is known about exactly what he was up to or how he was running his operation during this period, but what is clear is that behind the scenes he was moving serious weight and becoming a full-blown drug lord. He would leverage his contacts from Mexico to North America, specifically Canada, to run up millions in the streets. And as the years went on, small pieces of information would begin to come out, linking him to that criminal underworld. By April 2015, the RCMP, or Royal Canadian Mounted Police, had caught up with Operation Harrington, a massive crackdown on drug smuggling routes from Mexico and Colombia to the United States of America and Canada that revealed that Wedding had infiltrated the Canadian government itself. As part of a...
Wow. Did you guys hear that? Do I need to rewind that part? I will rewind that part.
Out, linking him to that criminal underworld. By April 2015, the RCMP, or Royal Canadian Mounted Police, had caught up with Operation Harrington, a massive crackdown on drug smuggling routes from Mexico and Colombia to the United States of America and Canada that revealed that Wedding had infiltrated the Canadian government itself.
Whoa. This guy ain't... He infiltrated the Canadian government 2015. Who was... One second, gang. Let's look up something quickly. It's insane. Wow. I'm trying to remember when Trudeau was started being a prime minister. Stephen Harper. Whoa. That Harper government was a motherfucker too, bro. Those guys were freaking, that was a mass incarceration government right there. And you had somebody on the inside during the Harper administration, there's something that's just unsettling in my stomach about that, man. Sick to my stomach, fam. Wow. I don't know if you guys, it's like maybe I'm looking into it more than you guys, but just to me, there's something very fishy about that, bro. Like, this is early. This is not super late in the game. This is not 2020 something. This is in the 2010s. You already had somebody in on the government side. Brother, how many more people are compromised in our government offices where Ryan Wedding has been able to ascend to become one of the biggest drug, if not the biggest drug dealer in the world? That doesn't feel, that's making my stomach turn, fam. I don't know how to feel about this shit. Say it again, bro.
Specifically Canada, to run up millions in the streets. And as the years went on, small pieces of information would begin to come out, linking him to that criminal underworld. By April 2015, the RCMP, or Royal Canadian Mounted Police, had caught up with Operation Harrington, a massive crackdown on drug smuggling routes from Mexico and Colombia to the United States of America and Canada that revealed that Wedding had infiltrated the Canadian government itself. As part of a string of raids, the police at the Canadian port of Halifax seized 200 kilograms of cocaine in 3 days.
God.
All in the form of 400 bricks stamped with Louis Vuitton logos, a mark used to indicate high-end purity. Charges.
Oh, the Louis? I don't know anything about that. Sorry. I don't know anything about that.
Were laid against employees of the Royal Canadian Air Force, the Department of National Defense.
You know what? Fuck it. I'm not in the streets anymore. Yo, that Louis stamp shit was supposed to. Listen, fam. You could step on that shit like mad times, fam. I'm not even gonna lie to you niggas, bro. Oh, I do remember the Louis stamp shit. I was still on roads them times, bro. You could step all over that shit. Customers still happy, bro. Holy. Just the hold said, tell them. Yo, I ain't even gonna friggin' like reminisce on this shit. Like I'm just thinking about the amount of money I was making off of them packs, bro. Like blood clot. That you were responsible for the Louis stampers, bro. Yo, y'all niggas, I ain't shit. Sorry, I took my headphones out. Holy shit, man. I ain't shit, bro. Okay. Don't look to me for the role model, okay? It's free that nigga, bro. That nigga was feeding the streets. Oh, I ain't even in the streets no more, but fam, for the niggas who's in the streets, especially them times, y'all know about the Louis bricks, bro. Niggas tell you, oh, fam, I got the one who got the Louis stamp on it. Yeah? What does that mean? I don't know, fam, but customers are flying back, fam. I'm sorry, bro. I'm sorry. This is why, you guys be saying like, yo, Friday for mayor. Nah, man. I've been outside too long to get into any offices, bro. They won't even let me in, fam. If they start doing, like during the campaign, if I was ever trying to run for any type of office, when they start really doing the mudslinging at each other and shit, and they start going into my past, they'll be like, oh, that nigga right there, this is going to be a layup. All we got to just show is how much of a dirty freaking piece of shit drug dealer he used to be, and this is a layup. We winning this. Listen, I might win just because niggas is like, yo, you a real nigga, bro. But I doubt it.
And the Canadian Coast Guard showing that Wedding had turned national defense assets into smuggling corridors. This was apparently a huge conspiracy that also involved gun smuggling.
Say that again.
String of raids, the police at the Canadian port of Halifax seized 200 kilograms of cocaine in 3 days, as well as a haul in the form of 400 bricks stamped with Louis Vuitton logos, a mark used to indicate high-end purity. Charges were laid against employees of the Royal Canadian Air Force, the Department of National Defense, and the Canadian Coast Guard, showing that Wedding had turned national defense assets into smuggling corridors. This was apparently...
Oh, shit, man. This guy had them up so crazy. Employees of the Royal Canadian Air Force, the Department of National Defense, and Royal Canadian Coast Guards have been charged in connection with Operation Wow. And we're worrying about dirty cops in Toronto for real. Them dirty cops ain't got shit on this nigga shit, bro. You got these kind of people involved in this game, bro? Damn, bro.
Department of National Defense and the Canadian Coast Guard, showing that Wedding had turned national defense assets into smuggling corridors. This was apparently a huge conspiracy that also involved gun smuggling in 8 separate importation conspiracies. And the authorities would claim that the bus was a huge milestone in their war on the cartels, with reporters specifically naming the Sinaloa cartel as being responsible for huge drug importation operations that made use of local representatives in Canada to receive shipments. A bunch of people were arrested in these busts, but interestingly, when the handcuffs came out, the ringleader Ryan Wedding was gone without a trace, with reports.
Yo, I gotta say, because I'm still stuck on the government involvement and stuff, bro. It's fucking my head up, bro. Because like when you think about the average pay for one of these guys, right? They're probably making close to 100,000. You know what? Let's double check that. We have Googles. Let's double check that. Because I need to know how much like somebody makes if you're working on like the Canadian Air Force, right? Average salary for Canadian Air Force. Let's do that. Let's do that. Average salary for Canadian Air Force. So Canadian Armed Forces, CAF members earn salaries based on rank, trade, and experience, with privates starting around $52,000 annually, rising to over $82,000 as corporals. $82,000 is not bad, but you got to be a corporal. Average base pay is approximately $55,000 to $66,000 a year, and you're defending the country, nigga. Can I have another job while I'm doing this? Or like I gotta stick to being in the Air Force only. What else did they get these niggas on? Where's this video? Hold on, let me find because that's crazy. Air Force. Let me see what's the average pay for RCMP. Let's see what RCMP officer. Okay, 71,000 upon graduating from training. That's not so bad. That's pretty good upon graduation, which increases to over 115,000. Yo, I'd rather be a freaking part of the RCMP than if freaking be on the Canadian Air Force or whatever, than be a damn soldier. Annually within 36 months of service also. So you can get this within 3 years. You're making 115,000, which is decent. Right? I'm just trying to paint the picture here for why the corruption, where the holes are, why the corruption can be easier done. You know what I'm saying? If mans are making 60, 80,000 a year doing your job, and I can say, you know what? I can 5x that. I don't even have to 10x it. I can 5x that. Just to do what I need to do. You know what I'm saying? Turn a blind eye. Let me use your storage areas. I'll make you a millionaire. For the amount that these guys make, I can see them saying, you know what? I'm going. Let's go. You know, you made me an offer that I can't refuse.
On the operation, describing him as still at large, despite being charged, and referencing his previous case where he tried to buy 24 kilos from those informants. Ironically, reports would reference his apology to the judge following his last conviction and claim that he was now facing 2 counts of conspiracy to import cocaine and conspiracy to traffic, as well as 1 count of cocaine trafficking. Wedding would apparently ghost, fleeing to Mexico and beginning a decade-long reign as a fugitive. And it was during these ghost years between 2015.
This guy was on the run since 2015. Yo, I'm going to say our government's trash, but y'all niggas wanted him for like the last 10 years, especially if he got people on the inside. Y'all weren't trying to catch him. Y'all were posturing when you were doing all of those press conferences and saying, this is our Canada's most wanted fugitive and blah, 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 blah. That was just posturing. It was a little poppy show.
In 2024 that the so-called wedding criminal enterprise would truly take shape. He would operate as the leader, nicknamed El Jefe, or Giant, and apparently he secured the ultimate protection for a direct alliance with the Sinaloa cartel themselves. From there, the wedding criminal enterprise utilized a sophisticated network of long-haul semi-trucks for their dope to cross the border from Mexico into Southern California. Once in Los Angeles, the drugs were stored in stash houses before being loaded into trucks being driven by Canadian operatives utilizing hidden compartments. And to clean the estimated $1 billion in revenue, Ryan Wedding moved to the digital age, laundering millions of dollars through cryptocurrency through a transatlantic money washing network. But nothing symbolized his.
Daniela El Jefe Alejandra Acun Marcia. I need to check something.
Insane wealth at this point, more than his acquisition of one particular, very rare and specific car. The FBI's investigation would eventually lead them to the seizure of a 2002 Mercedes-Benz CLK GTR Roadster, one of only 6 ever made, a car that was apparently initially ordered by Drake and carried an estimated value of $13 million US. This 8-figure hypercar was the perfect symbol of just how much dirty money Ryan Wedding was making and washing, but it was also a symbol of how desperate and slick he was having to be when it came to laundering and moving that money into seemingly legitimate assets. Really, he was having more money than sense and probably running out of things to do with it. In fact, in late 2025, the FBI and Mexican authorities would raid an entire warehouse in Mexico City, uncovering a $40 million motorcycle collection belonging to Wedding himself.
Valentino Rossi goes in. Okay, let me stop for a second. Let me go back over here. Right here. This girl right here, the wife, I have a video, and I'm not going to say who sent it to me, but somebody sent me a video a while back saying, yo, look into this. And salute to everybody who sends me stuff behind the scenes. But I wanted to show you this girl here. She did a song with Egyptian, Mel Grandi or Granda. Okay, this is the same one that was in that picture. I feel like I'm diving into murky territories over here. This is on Egyptian's channel over here. All right, salute to Egyptian. And what? Kraba Genius. I'll show you this first.
Federal authorities recently arrested Nahim Jorge Bonilla, the owner of Mandrake and Ruido Calajero Music, in connection with a large drug trafficking case involving cocaine and methamphetamine distribution across Los Angeles and Miami-Dade counties. Bonilla, whose Miami restaurant reportedly had connections to Diddy, is accused of conspiring to traffic significant quantities of drugs. This investigation, which involved a raid on Bonilla's Miami home, could lead to further arrests of individuals linked to Diddy as law enforcement continues its probe into the extensive operation. Federal authorities recently arrested Nahim Jorge Bonilla, the owner.
Okay, so this is the one person that they're saying is also connected to the Ryan Wedding guy, right? But I also wanted to show you the woman that was in that video, so I'll show you this again.
Dollars in revenue.
Her right here. The wife. Miriam Andrea Castillo Moreno. And then there's this one over here.
Ryan Wedding moved to the digital age, laundering
Daniela Alejandra Acuna Marcia. I don't know if she is the same. And listen, I'm not trying to diss any Latin people, be like, y'all look the same, because you really don't. If this is her. Right? She got a song with Egyptian. What a tangle web we weave. Hold on, I'm going to pull up one more video and then we're going to get back to the Trapler Ross video. And these videos are sent to me. Okay. So This is not off of my own research, but somebody sent me some stuff behind the scenes. Say, yo, you need to look into this. This is right when Wedding first got arrested. And I'm just giving you that disclaimer because, like, salute to Tisa Tells, but I don't usually watch her channel like that. So,
hey, what's up, guys? How y'all doing today? Well, baby, if your name is Sean Diddy Combs, people are wondering. To Miami,
and they're also saying this person had like this person and Ryan Weddings had connections to Diddy.
Are deep. And do you know what he got arrested for? Drug trafficking, money laundering.
Okay.
Just got arrested. They just did a raid on his house. If you want to know who his house is, this is the man that bought the house from DJ Khaled. Oh, his connections to Miami are deep. And do you know what he got arrested for? Drug trafficking, money laundering, all those things. Y'all, is Diddy starting to snitch? Is this the beginning of the end? Is Diddy not giving up his music core? Actually, this guy was a record executive. In any case, let's get into this because I promise you, you can't make this up. And once you do that, you let me know if you think that Diddy actually snitched. All right, let's get into this. So who is this man? Okay, this is directly from NBC Miami. FBI raids at a home of music executive accused of a major drug trafficking case. In the video, officers could be heard yelling at Naheem Bonilla to surrender over a loudspeaker. Now, the interesting thing about this is Diddy wants to make a whole thing, the feds raided, they use brutality, this ain't fair. It sounds like they brutal to everybody. Diddy, you better get in line. They said a Miami music executive has been indicted in a massive and allegedly murderous federal drug trafficking case involving criminal activity that spanned from Los Angeles to Miami-Dade counties and beyond, and as the FBI is seeking a former Canadian Olympian. According to the indictment, Naheem Jorge Bonilla, who owns the companies Mandrake and Rudio Calero Music, is accused of conspiring to distribute coca and meth for Ryan James' wedding and Andrew Clark. The video on Tuesday night and early Wednesday morning shows the moments law enforcement swarmed the home along the Island Estates Drive. Again, in the footage, the officers could be heard yelling at him to surrender over a loudspeaker in Spanish. Naheem Jorge Bonilla, this is the FBI. We have an arrest warrant. The FBI would only confirm in the statement that this was order law enforcement activity in support of an FBI Los Angeles case.
You're not saying that in the chat for real. Lil Oti tried to finesse me for some repress a month ago. We allegedly. Yikes.
Again, Diddy's raids happened in Miami and also Los Angeles. They said there will be superseding indictments. A lot of people are asking why this man that has Diddy was a frequent guest of his Miami restaurant. He was a big restaurateur, but apparently that was all a cover. People are now saying to watch this space, and the people, the low people, the people he did business with are going to slowly start getting picked off one after the other.
Wow. Whoa. Is it all connected? Diddy went down. This guy went down. And now they got Ryan Wedding. I showed you the music video. This girl's in the music industry. I don't know. Maybe I'm mistaken. Okay. You guys can tell me later on in the comments because I don't think anybody over here is refuting it. But when I do the repost of this, if that's not the same girl who's doing the song there with Egyptian, who's connected to a Montreal nightclub or restaurant, clubs in Miami, California, all over the place. Diddy's eating in the homie's restaurant. He gets, oh my God, it's too much. It's too much. Oh, I'm getting a freaking criminal activity brain overload, bro. There's so many connections right here, man. Whoo! My heart's beating a little bit still. I ain't gonna lie. Because as I find more videos and like stick unpeel this onion right here. Niggas like I feel like they might look at this video like later on and be like, yo, good job, great job, Friday. We needed this video. We were trying to figure out how to solve this case.
Millions of dollars through cryptocurrency through a transatlantic money washing network, but nothing symbolized his insane wealth at this point more than his acquisition of one particular, very rare and specific car. The FBI's investigation would eventually lead them to the seizure of a 2002 Mercedes-Benz CLK GTR Roadster, one of only 6 ever made, a car that was apparently initially ordered by Drake and carried an estimated value of $13 million US. This 8-figure hypercar was the perfect symbol of just how much dirty money Ryan Wedding was making and washing, but it was also a symbol of how desperate and slick he was having to be when it came to laundering and moving that money into seemingly legitimate assets. Really, he was having more money than sense and probably running out of things to do with it. In fact, in late 2025, the FBI and Mexican authorities would raid an entire warehouse in Mexico City, uncovering a $40 million motorcycle collection belonging to Wedding himself.
Oh my Lord. How many motorcycles does one man need, brother?
5, the FBI and Mexican authorities would raid an
Look at all them bikes, fam. There's like 30, 40 motorcycles in there. And these are all expensive, like $60,000, $50,000, $80,000 motorcycles. Like, brother, niggas just didn't know what to do with all of that money, bro. He's just like, shit, man, I got too much cash on hand, bro. Like, go buy some stuff. Anybody who was around him was probably just like, I don't know. I was hanging out with Ryan and he just gave me like $50,000. He said, just go buy some shit. He said, I can't keep it. He said, just go buy stuff. I said, all right, sure. He said, go spend that $50,000 in 12 hours right now, please. Like, this nigga just trying to spend off the money just so he doesn't have it around taking up space. And then the stuff that you're buying is taking up space. Holy shit, bro. The man almost got too rich.
Entire warehouse in Mexico City, uncovering a $40 million motorcycle collection belonging to Wedding himself.
Valentino Rossi goes into the lead.
From the top tier of blazing fast road racing to a dark warehouse in Mexico. Motorcycles packed in rows said to be worth $40 million US, all seized from Canadian fugitive Ryan Wedding, and all seemingly purchased as a way to launder his drug money.
All in all, just an absolutely amazing collection of machines that Wedding has somehow been able to amass from we don't know where.
Rossi goes through as they dip down into a...
These niggas is using this drug dealer's bikes in friggin' sanctioned races and shit, bro. You guys are driving around on cocaine bikes. All right? Fenty bikes. Blood money bikes.
Rabiata.
The FBI now confirming some were used in professional racing. All of them discovered by Mexican authorities amid raids targeting Wedding.
So he was racking up tens of millions of dollars in his personal net worth, getting all of the toys he possibly dreamed of when he was trying to become a professional snowboarder. And so, through this complex web, the failed snowboarder from Thunder Bay had transformed into the CEO of a multinational corporation built on white powder and blood money. But, as is often the case, the mountain of money was one thing, but it would be the trail of blood and violence that would truly put the authorities on his tail.
Not gonna lie, if he just couldn't catch any bodies, like, he would have got through still. But when you get to this level, you gotta catch some bodies. I'm sorry. If any of you kids out there who are aspiring to be drug dealers and want to be a young Ryan Wedding in the future, just know you're gonna have the stomach to be able to know that maybe you didn't catch the body, or maybe you did, to get that reputation also. All right, so people can respect you, people can trust you around other super criminals. Be like, yeah, you know, remember, like, yo, Ryan freaking choked that man to death one day in the freaking bar. Yeah, that guy. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna have to get some blood on your hands. So if you want to become a low-level drug dealer, then go on, like, have at it. I didn't say that, okay? Don't have at it. Stay in school, get a real job, okay? But if you're a low-level drug dealer, you might be able to get away with not having no bodies, okay? Coming from experience, I have no bodies, All right. And I'm not saying that because I'm on camera. I mean it. I have no bodies. I sleep well. I don't have no nightmares. I have no bodies. All right. But if you want to be the guy out there who's freaking transporting keys and becoming a super millionaire in the game, you're going to have to catch some bodies. All right. So just know that. Don't be thinking like you could be like Ryan. No. Not if you don't got the stomach for what Ryan's ready to do. You see what he did to that family over there, and it wasn't even the right family. Deepak gave him the wrong intel. Said go murk off these people here. They shot the mom and the dad, killed them both, and then shot the daughter 13 times and was like, "Oops, wrong family. Let's go get the right one." Okay, so if you don't got the stomach for that, stay on the sidewalk.
Following the slaughter of the innocent Sidhu family in 2023, in Caledon, the violence would continue, transforming a singular, horrific error into a systemic campaign of murder and elimination. Ryan Wedding, now insulated in Mexico, allegedly authorized a series.
We'll rewind in a second. Comment gang strong. Let me address y'all niggas. Y'all niggas is crazy, right? Robert Carlos says, Duncan speaking facts. I am speaking facts. Listen, if you don't want to catch no bodies, bro, then just stop at 100,000. Okay, stop at 100,000 a month type shit. That might even be pushing it. Okay, because if niggas rob you, then you're gonna have to go catch a body. All right. Juicy Hamburger says Friday got internet bodies like i.e. Underground Nation. There's multiple. I got multiple internet bodies. If it came to the internet, holy. When I spin the block on that internet shit, I got a whole frigging graveyard of bodies. You know what I'm saying? But on the streets, no, sir. I'm not trying to do life. Life. They give you life. Elbow. Life. All right. Shiesty's Bud said, I do. Hold on. Where's Shiesty's Bud's comment? Said, I do 25. Put me in the game, coach. I'm just saying that might be your initiation, brother. Right? If you want to make some real money, that Ryan Weddings, you want to be down with the Ryan Wedding gang, go catch a body. Then we can talk. Right? Yo, put me on to some program, fam. Put me on a program. Okay, all right, sure, buddy. Just go outside, go do that one thing for me, and I'll put you on to the biggest program of your life. You'll be rich. You'll get all the bitches. All right? Just go do that. Just hurry up and go do that one thing for me, though. You know what I'm saying? Quick body, you know? Send me a video. Soft thing.
Of cleanup operations to settle debts and silence loose ends. The first target was 29-year-old Randy Fader. Unlike the Sidhus, Fader was not a case of mistaken identity, but an existential threat to the business that apparently needed solving. He was allegedly a big-time dope pusher in the area, and he had been investigated for 3 years, beginning in 2017 and culminating in a 2020 raid where 4.3 kilos of weed was seized, along with an undisclosed amount of fentanyl, 196 grams of cocaine, cash, guns, and a pill press. But it would all come to a close for him on the afternoon of April 1st, 2024, on a quiet street in the tourist city of Niagara Falls, Ontario, where the mundane rhythm of the neighborhood was shattered by an assassin's gunfire. Fader was apparently killed in the driveway of his home in a point-blank execution-style shooting as a result of his involvement in the wedding drug ring. According to court documents, Fader was on the way out with a friend just before 6:20 p.m. when he turned to go back into the house to get something he'd forgotten. At this point, a white Audi would pull up and a gunman dressed in all black would hop out and shoot him in the head from just 3 feet away before fleeing the scene. And tragically, apparently his wife and young children were in the home and actually witnessed the murder from a window. Fader's taped-off home would be pictured in local news outlets, and apparently Andrew Clark, Ryan Wedding's ruthless second-in-command, who by this time was going by the chilling nickname The Dictator, was the one who had apparently orchestrated the hit. This hit on Fader was reportedly a contract killing carried out for $100,000 by a hitman nicknamed Mr. Perfect, with this apparently being an apparent response to an unpaid drug debt. Allegedly,
Mr. Perfect? That sounds spooky, fam. Mr. Perfect? Perfect. Like, just gets them every time, bro? That's spooky shit, bro. I don't know if y'all, to me, like it's more spooky than calling him like the Undertaker or freaking, I don't know, some kind of name that like really puts death in the name. You know what I'm saying? Like Mr. Perfect just sounds like, what? Perfect? What are you so perfect at doing? Like, oof. That's ugh. I don't want to meet Mr. Perfect, right? How much more of this video we got over here? Okay, there's not that much longer. As soon as I heard Mr. Perfect, I started looking out the window like, yo, Mr. Perfect. I don't want Mr. Perfect to pop up on me, fam.
Messages between weddings enforcer Clark and the hired hitman would circulate in the press, showing the chilling conversation where the hitman asked for a list of people to kill, promising to do the easiest one first, with him being told maybe the Niagara Falls Ginger, LOL, and explaining that the hit would be an easy 100K, describing it as a driveway job. Fader was found with life-ending injuries, his body a grim message to anyone in the network thinking of skimming off the top or talking to the police. Fader's grieving mother would also speak out to the authorities and the news, explaining she still doesn't understand why her son was targeted and that the mystery about his murder keeps her awake at night. She would also—
Shut up. You're lying. You don't understand why your son was targeted? You're lying. You're just talking shit because you're talking to the press, but you know why he was murdered.
So explain how authorities had, in her view, painted her son out unfairly to be a monster who actually deserved to be killed because of his involvement in this ruthless drug ring. Apparently, the FBI would claim that Fader was known as an international drug trafficker involved with the cartels, but his mother insisted he was just involved in dealing weed. She would show off the human side of this brutal, just business hit by showing the news his hat collection, and police would later claim to have arrested a 24-year-old named Malik Cunningham with $100,000 in cash and an iPhone including encrypted messages that pointed towards him being Mr. Perfect. But even with one hitter off the streets, the Canadian dope boys turned narcos would continue their wave of violence regardless of whether they had their chosen hitman. And the FBI would later allege that Wedding and Clark arranged a whole series of international murders just to protect their drug empire. Just 6 weeks after Fader's murder—
Yo, these guys are the real international bodman, yo. Wow. They're just organizing bare hits across the world.
The terror moved onto the sprawling suburbs of Brampton, Ontario, and according to the FBI, Mohammed Zafar had owed a drug debt to the Wedding network, a fatal error in an economy where late fees were paid in blood. As he sat behind the wheel of his car, also in his driveway, a gunman would approach the vehicle, and Zafar was shot at point-blank range, executing him in the driver's seat while the neighbors went about their weekend routines. Despite evading the authorities masterfully in Canada, the feds in America were desperate to catch Ryan Wedding and begun making their search for him more public. Wedding and Clark were publicly charged in a DEA indictment in October 2024, which accused them of orchestrating 4 murders from Mexico and running a drug cartel shipping hundreds of kilos of cocaine from Colombia through Mexico, then Southern California, with it finally ending up in Canada. A wanted poster for Wedding would be circulated online too, and a suspect chart would show 15 other defendants in the conspiracy who had been captured at this point, including Andrew Clark, as well as those still at large. Courtroom sketch of 4 of the 9 Canadians who were—
Low-key, if the American authorities didn't jump on this whole thing, he'd still be on road. You know what I mean? Because, and listen, I'm not trying to diss. Actually, I am dissing. Our Canadian authorities or our Canadian legal system is so trash that they gave up on the whole most wanted search or whatever. It was only when he became #1 on the FBI's most wanted list that they were really ready for business. Prior to that, that whole Canadian shit, that's why he was free for like since 2015. Because like they ain't trying to do shit over here. They don't even have the proper resources. Like Ryan Wedding got more money than their whole department, and their department is compromised because he has bare people on the inside that are probably giving him the heads up. He was using them as a storage spot, them being the Canadian government. So they wasn't trying to catch him. It was only when Cash Patel and them niggas got on his ass that they were like, okay, now we might catch this nigga. You know what I'm saying? And right now he's locked up in America. Don't extradite him to Canada. They'll just let him go. I'm not saying like don't free him, because obviously there's a lot of people in the chat. They're like, yo, free the man. Like, yeah, he was helping the Canadian economy for real. But they ain't gonna let him come back over here because they know that our freaking legal system is trash. They know that like he'll be out in like 2 weeks. You know what I'm saying? The lawyer's out right now. This is proof that our system is trash. Oh my God. It's so crazy how garbage our legal system is. Let me show y'all something. Lawyer released. Ontario lawyer released on bail. Here we go.
The wife of lawyer Deepak Paradkar leaves a Toronto courthouse after convincing a
that's
judge
his
to
wife?
release her husband on $5.25 million bail.
I feel like I've met her before.
The judge telling her the only reason he's getting bail is because of you. Paradkar faces extradition to the United States, where U.S. law enforcement accuses him of assisting a transnational drug trafficking organization led by former Canadian Olympic snowboarder Ryan Wedding. Wedding is one of the FBI's most wanted fugitives. At the center of the allegations, claims that Paradkar advised members of that criminal group to eliminate a cooperating FBI witness. That witness was later shot dead in Colombia, according to U.S. court records. None of the allegations have been proven in court, and Paradkar maintains his innocence. The Crown...
Okay, so let me do some correction here because I don't want to be out here spreading fake news. The family that they showed in the beginning of the Trapler Ross documentary is a different reason. That was for a quote-unquote unpaid drug debt, all right? And the logistical error, I don't know as far as what that means. But as far as the people that this guy advised Ryan Wedding that he needed to kill, these were people who were supposed to be witnesses on a case. And he said, I know how to do this. I wouldn't even have to go to court and do any paperwork. Just get rid of the witness, brother. It's easy. You know how to do the killing thing. Just go get your guys. Go kill the guys. Then they won't testify. It's easy.
Opposed any bail over concerns Paradkar would be a flight risk. He could be helped by Ryan Wedding's illicit network to flee Canada. Justice Peter Bodden disagreed, writing, "The troubling reality is that these individuals are more likely to kill Mr. Paradkar to prevent him from becoming a cooperating witness than to protect him in exchange for silence."
Ooh, I did not think about that part about that, Eric. Yo, Paradkar or freaking, what's his name? Emergency Deepak, right? The cocaine lawyer, they call him. Watch your back, brother. You might be watching this right now. I didn't think about that part. Like, nah, we might need to get rid of this guy right here. Don't let him go to trial. It's that same advice that you gave to them about the whole, well, here's a way of making sure that the person doesn't talk in trial. Just kill them. They might do that to you now, brother. Wow. Oh, what a tangle web we weave.
The most compelling reason to believe Mr. Paradkar will attend court and comply with house arrest bail terms is that it may be the only way to stay alive. The key testimony in the bail hearing came from...
My bad, stolen shipment. Yeah, it was a stolen shipment that they murked them for. And I don't know if that was the right family. Like, damn. But it could be. You never know.
Paradkar's wife, Mandy, who told the court she believed her husband is innocent. The judge saying he believes Mandy Paradkar's priority is the safety of her family, which is why she'll ensure her husband complies with his bail conditions. As part of Deepak Paradkar's bail conditions, he must remain in his home at all times unless accompanied by his wife or another relative. And he can't have any access to electronic devices that would allow him to communicate with the outside world, with the exception of his wife's cell phone under her supervision. Alan?
How does that make sense? So you can't use any electric devices except for your wife's cell phone and if it's under her supervision, because she's going to make sure that you don't call anybody in the criminal underworld. She told us in court I'm going to make sure that he don't get with them bad boys again. Okay, just trust me. And you guys said, okay, sure. No problem. You see why the FBI had to lock up this nigga and not the Canadian government? We're jokes, fam. If Ryan Wedding was locked up in a Canadian prison, he wouldn't be locked up in a Canadian prison. All right. I have nothing else to say about him being locked up in a Canadian prison because it wouldn't happen. All right. Like I said, as soon as before the cell door can close, they'll be like, Wedding, you're free. Well, shit. Why you give me this pumpkin suit for? I told you I was going to be out before you guys can get me out of freaking P&D. Come on, bro. The fuck you think this is? I made a call, right? Called one of Harper's people. I'll out in a second. We are soft, puppy chow. All right. When it comes to the legal system, as soft as they say that we are, soft. Muffins.
9 Canadians who were captured as part of the conspiracy was shared prior to their extradition, and Clark himself was arrested on October the 8th in 2024 by Mexican authorities and extradited back to the US, arriving there in February of 2025, with Clark later pleading not guilty to murder and drug charges. But despite evading capture, the net was closing in on Ryan Wedding. Authorities circulated surveillance pictures taken of him by the FBI, and behind the scenes, Wedding was still willing to order murder and try and protect himself from facing accountability for running this drug empire. But the most brazen act of violence would occur thousands of miles away in the mountainous city of Medellin, Colombia, the original source for the cocaine being trafficked throughout America. The target was only known as Victim A, apparently a US federal witness who had turned state's evidence and was planning to cooperate against Ryan Wedding, but believing that he was safe far away from Canadian or Mexican soil. But on that afternoon, he would sit down at the restaurant Mi Arepa in the upscale El Poblado district, unaware that his location had been compromised. He would take it.
See, I didn't even mean to play that video with emergency Deepak over there, or Evoc or whatever. But this is his work. Right here, they're about to get to his work. They said in the video that we just watched that he, said the people that were trying to testify on him in Colombia or whatever, kill them. And they did. This is his work. Pay attention.
See, order food, and begin to eat. US federal witness who had turned state's evidence and was planning to cooperate against Ryan Wedding, but believing that he was safe far away from Canadian or Mexican soil. But on that afternoon, he would sit down at the restaurant Mi Arepa in the upscale El Poblado district, unaware that his location had been compromised. He would take a seat, order food, and begin to eat, not knowing that this would be his last meal. Surveillance footage would capture the cold efficiency of this hit. First, a heavyset male scout would signal the all clear, then an assassin would calmly walk up to the open window, firing 5 shots from a silenced handgun into the back of the witness's head. As patrons screamed, the shooter calmly vanished into the traffic, leaving behind a message that no borders could stop the Ryan Wedding organization from touching you. Shockingly, prosecutors alleged that the hit was facilitated by the alleged cocaine lawyer, a prominent Toronto defense attorney who used the legal discovery process to help hunt down this witness. Apparently using his status as a defense counsel, he allegedly obtained the witness's identity and location through the discovery process. He then allegedly passed the location to Ryan Wedding with a simple piece of advice.
Man's doing hella allegedly's on top of that. You good job there, Ross.
The legal discovery process to help hunt down this witness. Apparently using his status as a defense counsel, he allegedly obtained the witness's identity and location through the discovery process. He then allegedly passed the location to Ryan Wedding with a simple piece of advice: if you kill the witness, the case will be dismissed.
The U.S. government wants Paradkar extradited to face charges that could mean life in prison. Paradkar
on road.
Allegedly counseled fellow Canadian and Olympic snowboarder Ryan Wedding to murder an FBI witness.
With this public and international execution, Ryan Wedding had proved that he was now truly the head of a transnational murder-for-hire ring, and demonstrating that for his enemies, there was truly nowhere to hide, and that to protect his empire, he was willing to kill literally anyone, anywhere in the world. And now, with an alleged cooperating witness killed under their watch, the FBI would be furious and embarrassed and ready to do absolutely anything to take down Ryan Wedding. In response to the bloodshed, the FBI launched Operation Giant Slalom, an ironically named tongue-in-cheek reference to the devastating loss Ryan suffered in the 2002.
This is the fuck I'm talking about, bro. Corny. Operation Giant Slalom. Y'all got to do better than that, fam. You got to holler at some rappers. Maybe even Trapler Ross can help you with these names, these comparisons. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, bro. Operation Giant Slalom is trash. You niggas is garbage with the names, bro. No jokes.
In response to the bloodshed, the FBI launched Operation Giant Slalom, an ironically named tongue-in-cheek reference to the devastating loss Ryan suffered in the 2002 Winter Olympic game with the same name that caused him to quit sports and take up drug dealing in the first place. With a new US administration prioritizing the drug war, pressure mounted on Mexico to take action, and security analysts believe that Wedding eventually brought too much heat, even leading the Sinaloa cartel to betray him to save themselves. Over the course of 2025, the FBI put in work and begun to track down Ryan Wedding and close in. In March of 2025, 2 months after the murder of the alleged cooperator in Colombia, the FBI announced that they were upping the reward for any information leading to Wedding's arrest to a whopping $10 million. Later,
see, RCMP ain't got that kind of money.
Increasing that even more to an eye-watering $15 million.
They don't got that kind of bread. 15. You see how many zeros are here? All right. What were we offering? What was the Canadian government? What was the Canadian reward for Ryan Wedding? Let's find that out. Let's go into AI mode. They're only saying I'm not even going to put it up on the screen. They're only saying the American reward because whatever we were offering was like ain't nobody trying to go risk getting killed by the Sinaloa cartel for no 100,000 or whatever that the friggin' Canadian, the RCMP would have been offering. Come on, B. You got to put some real bread on this nigga's head. 15 million, bro? I'm saying, fam. Y'all niggas already call me federal. So fuck it. I'm here now, bro. But if 15 million, I'm a rat. I'm gonna find this nigga, fam. I'm sorry. 15 million? Yo, I can't be the only one, bro. Yo, one in the chat. If you're doing a 222 tips, you seen Ryan Wedding. You were at some place in Mexico. I don't know. Freaking, you're at a resort and you seen Ryan Wedding. And you hear there's a $15 million reward for him. Are you making a call? One in the chat if you're making the call. Two in the chat if you're like, nah, I ain't never snitch. I never snitch, bro. I never tell my nigga. 15 million. Think about it. $15 million. Life-changing money. Okay? It's not 2 million or whatever that you can like fuck off and like blow in debt or whatever and type shit. Like $15 million. Are you making the call or you're standing 10 toes down? I don't care. You know what? I'm just going to order a drink for Ryan Wedding. I ain't even going to snitch on him. Let me see what y'all saying. All right. I see Sheisty's bus said never snitch. Never, ever, ever. Never, ever. Mario T. Dot says, put the 2 in the chat. Kara puts the 2 in the chat. Damn, y'all are standing on freaking business, eh? Comment gang strong. Let me know. You see him. You're looking at him. You've seen some videos, some pictures of this guy. You heard that they want freaking, he's a freaking big time cartel boss or whatever, or down with the cartel. All you got to do is make a phone call. You won't even have to testify later. Just 222 tips. Say, hey, I'm at a bar and sitting about 2 feet away from me is Ryan Wedding. And then they'll send you an EMT in a day. As soon as they're able to pick him up, they got him. All right. I know that they have to convict the person and all that. Let's just do my hypothetical here. All right, gang? As soon as they get him, we got him. We confirm the identity. This is Ryan Wedding. You check your EMT. $15 million is in your bank. You doing it, or you standing 10 toes down? Andrew said the twos are lying. Hey, y'all don't got no kids? Wifey? You should check with her first. You know what I'm saying? Roberto says you're buying him a drink. I'm just saying, you might want to check with wifey first. Be like, I'm putting 2 in the chat. I'm not doing it. If I even see her, no, hell no. And she's like, what? What? Did he say 15 million? Okay. Listen, morals over money. I fuck with you, bro. I don't know about the safety after, but brother. Yeah, I'm making that fucking call, bro. I'm sorry, brother. I'm sorry. If I've let any of you down, I'm sorry. I'm making. I'm in the bathroom hiding and shit. I see him. Look, I even took a picture with my phone. It's him, right? My picture that I took with my phone ends up becoming one of the Google images. Yo, Barrett. Yo, don't do that to me, bro. All right? Don't tell Reddit that I said that, okay? Don't tell Torontology Reddit that I said that shit. All right? But I'm calling them. Two tips. I see Ryan Wedding. He's right there. My EMT, welovehiphop @gmail. I'm sorry.
Watering $15 million. His name would hit headlines all over the world in mid-November when it was revealed that the FBI were closing in and had actually seized his Mercedes CLK GTR. This same month, 10 other people would be arrested in connection to the Wedding drug empire, including the lawyer who lined up the murder of the witness in Colombia. The news would report on the 10 arrests, as well as the still ongoing manhunt for Wedding himself, as well as new charges they were aiming towards Ryan.
Welcome back. The search continues for a former Olympic snowboarder turned alleged drug kingpin. Right now, there's a massive reward out for the capture of Ryan Wedding.
The DOJ announcing 10 arrests in the murder plot.
Listen, and I see people talking about, yo, what about the safety? Carol saying Mr. Perfect gonna come for me. Listen, maybe, all right, at this point, I don't give a shit. I'm gonna buy as much guns as I can out of my $15 million to protect myself too. All right, and I'll take my chances. All right, I'll get a nice crib in Texas somewhere where I can have all my guns. All right, and I'll take my chances. Say hello to my little friend. All right. Sorry, bro. I'm off of this with this 15 million. Bruh.
Let's say the 44-year-old remains at large in Mexico, protected by the powerful Sinaloa cartel.
Bizarrely, following the seizure of that 8-figure Mercedes, an Instagram account began posting under the handle Boss Ryan W, putting up what appeared to be images and captions that were taunting the authorities. However, these images would later be exposed as being impersonators using AI. But there was something real going on behind the scenes, and soon the FBI would be crossing a big name off their most wanted list when it was finally revealed that Ryan Wedding had actually been captured. The manhunt would end in Mexico City on January the 22nd, 2026, when Ryan Wedding allegedly surrendered voluntarily at the U.S. Embassy.
Tonight, the former Olympian turned alleged drug kingpin, who rose to the top of the FBI's most wanted list, now in U.S. custody, surrounded by top DEA and FBI officials, including Director Kash Patel.
This individual and his organization and the Sinaloa cartel
poured narcotics into the streets of North America.
While yet another allegedly AI-generated post would circulate claiming to show Ryan outside the embassy about to turn himself in. But what wasn't AI was his perp walk, which received huge publicity as he arrived back on the US soil, with FBI Director Kash Patel taking a victory lap. This was an interesting moment that caught headlines, with Ryan going viral for his apparently expensive designer fit, proving that even when turning himself in, Ryan Wedding was still that flashy, designer-clothes-wearing demon that he had been all those years ago when he was working as a bouncer, aspiring to sell pot. Today, Ryan Wedding sits in a federal cell awaiting trial that's currently scheduled for March 2026 after pleading not guilty. And if convicted, he'll be facing a mandatory life sentence.
Jeez. So, he went from being an aspiring drug dealer from watching the man them while he was a bouncer to becoming the biggest of the biggest drug dealers in the world, okay? Good youth, good family, nice home. Dad owned a whole ski slope, all right? You know what it takes to be able to own or at least rent a part of a motherfucking mountain? You have to have real money, fam. When you own a ski resort, bro, you own freaking real estate on a mountain, bro. And we can use the mountain too. That's ours. We could use that piece of it. We don't own we own that land. That all that declining, that land going down over there, that's ours. People ski on that. They pay us big bucks. You gotta have real money to have them type of thing there, you know. It's not like opening a friggin' patty shop or some shit. That's some big boy money right there, all right? Hold on, let me get the picture that they had over here of Ryan Wedding with the... Where's this shit? That right there? Holy, the fit. The AI fit that they put on the man? Crazy, 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 shit, crazy. But yeah, that's some real good youth shit. Like you came from not just like, oh, a 2-family home. You came from an extremely wealthy 2-family home, right? To become this guy. I asked in the chat because I feel like there's a lot of compromised people in this whole thing, right? Luckily, as far as for the FBI or for the authorities, that he isn't on Canadian soil, like I said before. But I asked, will Ryan Wedding beat his case? 37% say yes, and a whopping 63% say no. All right, so I don't know. I have to go again with the other side. I think I'm going to be part of that 37%. There's a part of me that feels like he might not beat up the case completely, but they're not going to give him a life sentence. He might get off in like 15 years, and the man's not an old man. He'll touch road and he'll be like in his 50s, 60s type shit, right? So we'll see. I'll keep you guys posted as far as any updates. We'll keep you posted what's going on with Deepak, right? The cocaine lawyer, see what's going on with him. And big salute to Chapler Ross. Very, very dope documentary right here, right? Netflix, just save yourself the trouble, bro. Just hire Ross. All right. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to check out these other videos on the screen and make sure to like and subscribe.
We love hip hop.